Right.
Divided by a common language.
We are live. I think we're live. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. Let me know if you can hear us and see us okay. Apologies in advance. The Wi-Fi seems a little bit temperamental tonight. Last night we hooked up to Steve's Wi-Fi on his phone, and that worked really good. So thank you, Steve, for last night. But Steve's not here tonight.
Nope.
So we got Joe instead.
And I don't have that Wi-Fi.
And he doesn't have that Wi-Fi. So we're relying on the hotel Wi-Fi, which is flaky. So thank you very much for watching. If it dies and cuts off. So I've known Joe for a long time.
Yeah.
Are we talking more than 10 years?
Just over, yeah.
Just over 10 years. And we first knew each other because you helped me work on one of the expansions for Mage Night.
No. Before
Was
that.
it before that?
I was demoing,
You were demoing Mage Night
at the WizKids booth.
Yes.
And you came by.
Yeah.
So that was, I think it was like 2011,
So
2012.
2012, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you helped me
Yes.
with the development work on Shades of Tesla?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. And Joe's a board gamer from America who comes to Essen almost every year.
Yep. Did not come in the pandemic year, but
Nope.
been more regular since about, 2013, 2014?
Yeah.
When work schedule allows, basically.
Yeah. And the plan, as I mentioned last night and the night before, is because I don't play games myself at Essen and I spend my days not even getting demos of games, but just, running demos myself and then going around and having meetings, I would get a guest on every night who would tell us about all the games that you've played during the day.
I played one. We demoed, because Thursday is shopping day.
Yeah, Thursday's shopping day. So
we had a battle plan.
It literally was a military operation.
After last night's stream, Steve came down to the lobby with me, and we set it all up. We had our friends Daniel and Tina coming from Dortmund, and all three of us went off in different directions in the morning to get specific games.
Did you synchronize watches?
We did not do
Yeah,
that.
you should have done that.
We also didn't rush the hall. We sit up in the coffee shop and watch the big rush go in and then follow them because that massive humanity is too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I went for Evacuation because that was my one must-have that I didn't pre-order. Steve went for Nucleum.
Yep.
And then Daniel and Tina went on what turned into an epic quest for English edition of Forest Shuffle because the app told us it was in Hall 6.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Yeah. It was in Hall 3 because everything's in Hall 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we kind of, until about noon, it was all shopping.
Yeah.
And then to the car, and then a second round of shopping, and then lunch. And then we said, we want to find a demo. So we got Get On Board from Yellow.
Okay.
Which, it's a cool little, and it's a flip and write.
Right.
It's actually one thing I liked about it. There's 12 cards, and you see all of them. So you know you're going to get 2 of each color. So you know you've got these little patterns at the top of your play sheet. And they flip the card over, and that's the pattern you must put down on the board.
Okay.
It's not blocking, so it's not you're not trying to cut anyone off. You're mostly playing your own game. But it does, if you line up where someone else is, you get extra points.
Okay.
And it's the standard roll and right or flip and right. You're trying to get to certain targets and get points for them.
So theme of the game is called Get On Board.
It's called Get On Board. It's Metro.
Oh, it's Metro.
So
right.
there's 2 sides. If you're playing 2 or 3 players, you're in Rome, and if you're playing 4 or 5 players, you're in Paris.
Okay.
Which I wanted Paris anyway, so I was happy with that. It was really solid. I liked it. Excuse me. The one thing I said was, if I didn't own a bunch of roll and writes already, I would probably get it.
Oh, this is the one that you said. Right,
yeah, because it's solid. It's really good. And like I said, the one thing I like about it is you see all the cards. Mm-hmm. So as you're getting towards the end of the deck, you know what you've got left and how you can plan a little bit. So there's a little bit of strategy in there, as well as to just flip the random roll and rights and just go all random. Okay. So I liked that part about it. But again, I own enough roll and rights that it's not on my list, but I would not say no to playing it again.
So you said earlier on today that you'd watched a few content creators' most anticipated games for Essen.
Yes.
Was this on any of theirs?
It was not. No, I hadn't seen any of those. We were looking for demos, and I remember we always find a game of the show, like a game where I didn't know it was at Essen, but it turns out to be one of the games that we end up playing over and over and over. Last year, Steve brought Scout to the meetup on Thursday night, and it turned out to be my game of the show that I didn't know about. A few years ago, it was Bunny Kingdom, which we randomly got to sit down for a demo for Bunny Kingdom, and by the end we're like, oh, we're buying this game. So when we saw the yellow booth, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go over there and see if there's anything at the yellow booth that might end up being that surprise game. This wasn't it, but I mean, I would not say no to it. Right. So.
John's in the chat. John said that he liked Get On Board, but his wife sadly bounced off it completely. And if you play a lot of games with your partner, then if they're going to bounce off it, then it is tricky. Mark is asking, so no one got Rats of Wistar? No, but I can tell you that I was offered a copy by Cranio. I have a good relationship with Cranio. I have a professional relationship with Cranio occasionally. You know, I've done some paid work for them. And they contacted me and they said, we'd like to give you review copies of this, this, and this. And I said no to Rats of Wistar. And I don't know if that was the right thing to do.
I've heard mixed. So
I've heard mixed.
I want to. That's on my. So I now have the list of things for the rest of the show I want to get demos of and try to decide whether I played. That's on. That's on my want to try list.
Yeah. And the reason why I said no, and those of you that have been tuning into me for the last 2 or 3 months will have heard me say this many, many times, is that I am actively trying to reduce the number of games that I get given, because at the end of every year, I still have games unplayed on the shelf, and I still have games that I got from last year's Essen which haven't been played. And that gives me bad feelings when a publisher has said, here, Paul, have a copy of a game, whatever, and I haven't covered it on the channel and haven't even played it. So actively trying to reduce the number of games that I was getting, and Rats of Wistar, because I'd heard mixed things, I said no. Politely, I said, there's a couple of things that I've heard about the game that I think might not suit me. I actually suggested a fellow content creator of mine in the UK, and I said, could the copy that you were going to give me go to them? And they actually said, well, actually, no, we have a list. We've reached you on that list. If you don't want it, we will go to the next one on that list. So I've said no to that game, and I will find out either in a few days or a few months whether I should have said no to that.
We'll probably demo it. Maybe not tomorrow. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's in Hall 3, so we'll be walking by. And now it's right. If you're walking by and you see a demo, then we hop in. Yeah. And I've got a whole list for that. Because I bought today's, like we said, today was the shopping. The morning was everything we seriously wanted. Couple pre-orders in the afternoon. Yeah. And a couple of, oh, sure. And now everything I knew I wanted, or that was a yes before the show, is done. So everything else, including Rats of Wistar, I've got like Ceres,
Rise of Civilization, so Path of Civilization,
Arborea, and then just now downstairs, what was it, Sweet
Mess.
Sweet Mess.
Luke Hector's been going on about Sweet Mess.
So I put that on the
list. Which
is
apparently a very, very good game. So totally irrelevant background story, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I knew about Sweet Mess, and I saw all of the files for Sweet Mess and all of the rules for Sweet Mess when the publisher sent me a link to some rule books, but accidentally sent me the link to the higher level.
Oops.
Which meant I saw all of the folder names and I saw all of their games that they were working on. It happens. And you see things and you're like, oh, you're working on these games. I just went, no, but I saw it and I spoke to them and I said, did you accidentally send me a link? And he said, oh, yeah. And I said, so is that another game you're working on? And they said, yeah, don't look at that. I was like, okay, I won't. And that was it. And then, 12 months later, this game comes out called Sweet Mess. So Luke Hector from the Broken Meeple has played it, and I saw him post on social media, and he was very, very positive about it. And if you know Luke, he is negative 99% of the time. So if he says something's good, then it's worth looking at. We all have different tastes, but Luke didn't hate it. It's actually what publishers should put on box covers. Luke Hector did not hate this game. Which is it. So tell us about the demos that you're getting tomorrow. That's those ones.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Well, we want to hit either Ceres or Keltay tomorrow morning, and then we're looking at, like I said, Rats of Wistar, Arborea, Path to Civilization, which I bought, but I'm gonna demo up because it's a big heavy Civ game, and I bought because I'm a sucker for big heavy Civ games.
Yeah, big heavy Civ games.
I mean, nothing has touched through the ages or Clash of Cultures, each of their own way. Yeah. But I still always crave Civilization.
Yeah. Ditto. Well, I mean, I grew up playing Advanced Civ in the sort of late 80s and 90s, and Civ games has always been a tick box for me.
Spellbook, Space Cowboys, because I like that publisher. Something else in Hall 3. A friend of mine wanted to see Amistar, I think, which is not one I was familiar with.
Rings a bell.
So I'm going to go take a look at that.
Yeah.
I still have to decide on the Arnak expansion, but that's not a demo.
No.
And then just see if we can find any random demos, because there's like I said, hopefully I'll find a random demo that's like, oh yeah, no, this was a game I didn't know about, and I will now buy because my group will have a perfect fit.
Right.
Like, it's often maybe it's not really a hit game, but it's a game that, because I know my group will be a perfect fit.
Yeah.
So some years I find them, most years I don't. Or
Dan,
most years I find them, some years I don't.
Dan's with us off camera. You played anything today? Yeah. You going to tell us what you've played?
Hello. I played Sweet Mess.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
With Luke?
With Luke.
Oh, right, okay. And is he right?
It's not my cup of tea, but I enjoyed it.
Right.
So it's a sort of game we played for maybe 45 minutes. It was fun. It moved quite fast. I enjoyed it. I haven't really played anything like it, although they were saying games that it was like that I haven't played.
Luke said it was a bit like Splendor.
Splendor, yeah.
Splendor,
okay.
Yeah. I haven't actually played Splendor,
right.
But they were saying it's like that. So I enjoyed it. It's not my sort of thing. I like dry economic Euro games.
And Civilization games.
And Civilization
and
games.
Path of Civilization's on your list
It's
to
on
look
my
at as
list
well,
to
but
look
you've
at,
not
yeah.
looked at it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
It was very sad. I could have gotten a demo for Path today, but it was right before lunch, and it was either...
Similar experience. I was due to play, be demoed Nucleum with you, Paul, this morning. Had it booked for 10 a.m, but my phone had changed the time to 11 a.m. because we're an hour ahead than where I am back home. So I turned up at 11 and I was an hour late, so I missed it. So I'm hoping that a slot will become free.
There is a slot free. Okay. I'll tell you about it later.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was gutted.
Cool. I mean,
pastry competition. Was it Sweet Mess pastry competition? Yes, that's which one it was.
Right. Okay. Marielle is saying that CGE are running a treasure hunt. So there's a fun activity that CGE do at their booth. There's a treasure hunt, and there are, I believe, things to find that you go around Essen and you try and find things and come back and
like the
win a
Catan
little
people
contest.
wandering around.
I don't quite know what's that.
You know how those people who wander around with the big Catan flags on? That's a thing for getting stickers for something for Catan.
Oh, is it? Right. Okay. Cool.
I was going to say Archaeologic. That was the other one that I really wanted to demo, because it's a deduction or puzzle or both game, and those sometimes appeal to our group. So I'm going to try that one out tomorrow.
So games that I've picked up today, no surprises here, and I would say nothing special, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. These are games that I've picked up because I've worked on them. And this is the deluxe version of Cuzco, which is game number 6 in the Steffenfeld City collection. I worked on these games professionally, so yeah, happy to pick them up. And game number 5 is Vienna. Heavy boxes, very heavy boxes. And I picked up my copy of Kutnahora, City of Silver from CGE.
That one was a must for me.
Yeah.
CGE, for most of the times, the heavy game is always one I buy.
Yeah.
And I've rarely been disappointed. So.
And the last game I picked up is the only copy of Cat in the Box that Bezier Games brought with them.
Oh, wow.
Because they are not selling Cat in the Box here, because Pegasus Spiel are selling Cat in the Box. However, I contacted Bezier Games back in April. I played this game for the first time back in April. It's actually rare these days that I request review copies of games, because what's the point of me requesting a review copy of a game when I'm not going to have time to play it? However, Cat in the Box, a friend of mine, Mark, taught me how to play. I played it, I loved it. I wrote to Bezier Games and I said, look, I'd like to have this in my collection, and because I use my collection for the GridCon Games Library, this is a game that I want in the GridCon Games Library. Could I have a review copy of it? And they said, yes, but you're in the UK. We don't want to send it all the way to the UK. So I said, what about Essen? And they said, sure, if you can wait 5 months. I went, I can wait 5 months. So I messaged them a month ago and said, are we still good? So Kevin from Bezier Games put this in his suitcase. There's a little post-it note for Paul. I turned up, he went in the back, got it out of his suitcase, and that is it. Yeah, so not a new game at all, but love Cat in the Box, great game. So yeah, that is all I've picked up today. I haven't picked up very much. I mean, those 3 first games that I showed you today, they're really heavy, so I didn't have much space in the case. I did go and try and pick up my copy of Forest Shuffle today, but a lot of publishers have had issues with games not arriving yet. So I am due to pick up 2 copies of Forest Shuffle, one for me, one for the raffle, a C, D, and E deck for Agricola, and Lookout Games knew that I got married recently. And my contact Lookout Games decided to give me a special gift. So she's giving me a Patchwork Valentine's Day edition of Patchwork as a gift. So I went to Lookout Games to collect these games, and they said some of them have arrived, some of them haven't. If you come back tomorrow, we'll have them all. So
they apparently had that problem with Nucleum too, because in the morning, Steve's first stop was Nucleum because I had pre-ordered it and he was just buying it, and they wouldn't let him pick up the pre-order.
Correct.
They're like, "There's more coming."
Yeah, there's more coming. If you've pre-ordered it and you are here for the rest of the weekend, then please come back later because the copies they have, we need to sell them.
Yeah.
But your pre-order copy is arriving. There were, I mean, I knew a week before Essen, because Board and Dice told me, that Nucleum might not arrive.
Okay.
Obviously, don't tell anybody, but it might not arrive. There was issues. The ship that it was on, there was an issue with the ship, and it was stuck somewhere, and then it was going to go through customs, and if it goes through customs and it gets a random check, they have to go through all the boxes, which delays it for a week, and basically it was only on the way here that I messaged Board and Dice and said, so, good news, bad news? And they went, good news. It may not be here on the Thursday, but it will be here over Essen. So,
we actually, so after we picked up some more games and we're doing our first sort of make sure everybody got what we meant, we were standing in Hall 3 next to one of the doors out to the cargo area.
Yeah.
And the door opened up,
right.
and I had to shuffle to the side. This big pallet went by, and then Daniel looked at me and said, "You can pick up your Nucleum now."
Right.
And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "That pallet just went by."
Right.
That was all Nucleum.
That was it. Right. Okay.
So
yeah,
that was pretty funny.
And Mark says, that would have sucked big time, but it's not the first time it's happened.
Yeah.
Almost every Essen, there is a publisher whose games do not get here for Essen. And
there was it last year when the or was it the year before? No, it was last year, I think. The Firefly game didn't make it at all.
Right.
And because I was like, "Oh, I might buy that," and it never came in. Like Saturday evening, we went by and they just had empty shelves.
Yeah, and it's bad anyway. If a publisher has got X thousand copies of games in, 1,500, who needs to sell them to make money, and they don't arrive, they can't sell them. But it's even worse when you've pre-ordered. And with Nucleum, you'd pre-ordered.
Yeah.
You paid for it. If it then doesn't arrive, what do? They have to send it to you. So it ends up costing...
Nobody's happy about them having to send it to California.
So, it's one of those things. There was a comment about a Cephalo Fair booth. Yeah, Isaac is here as well. He joined us for evening fun and entertainment. He was playing Forest Shuffle when we left the bar. They do have a booth. I think they're just demoing...
the RPG, I believe.
Oh, they're demoing the RPG, are they?
I saw of the RPG table front and center, and a guy in some light cosplay showing stuff off.
Okay.
I didn't stop by close enough to be sure, but I think they were demoing the RPG.
Yeah. Excellent. Forest Shuffle is so good. We've been seeing quite a few people playing Forest Shuffle. The ATO promo. Am I allowed to show it? I think I am. I mean, he said not until today. So I hope I don't get into trouble for this. Oh, let's go and get it. Where have I put it? There it is.
I remember hearing Steve talk about the demo, but I picked up way more games than Paul did, but I picked up pretty much all the games I'm going to pick up at the show, and now I get to pack my luggage tonight after this.
So, Aeon Trespass Odyssey. This is the promo that Into the Unknown are giving away at the show. I don't know if they're giving away other promos as well, but this is the one that they gave me. And I wasn't able to show this. John says it's been up on the Discord already. Okay, so now you won't know much about this because you don't know much about the game. But this is...
Right, I was getting Paul to give me the rundown of the game.
Give me a short summary of Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Right, how long have you got? So this is a promo Titan. This is Tail Spinner. So this is the Titan with a unique pattern. And a new unique Kratos table with some extra abilities. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's special rules. Special rules for that particular Titan. There we go. And a miniature. Even though the box is very thin, it is a build your own miniature. So it's all of the bits. So I'm going to have to get the glue out on that to put that together. So I don't know if there are any other promos that they're giving away. And I don't actually know how you get this Titan. I haven't looked at it yet. But it's very cool that they've made this thing deliberately just for this. You know, there's obviously design work, miniature molding, and everything else, just to go into a little promo. And I think they've said that the promo is going to be available at some point later on for those people who can't get to Essen.
I appreciate that one.
Oh, it is tomorrow now anyway. Yeah, it's Friday.
Oh, it is.
It is Friday. Wow, it's midnight. Yeah, I got back. Obviously, I started this stream an hour later. I left the meetup later than normal, and we decided to. I say we decided. It's kind of become a tradition that I walk back from Fitzpatrick's, and it's about a 40-minute walk. But it was a nice walk.
Yeah, it was. It's really nice out
It's like 20 degrees outside tonight. It's crazy. So yeah, it is Friday. Paul Income's in the chat. Hi, Paul. Yeah. Good to see you in here. What will that be implemented in your ATO session 13? I very much doubt it, because right now in our Alien Trespass Odyssey campaign we are still on Dreamwalkers. We haven't unlocked any of the other Titans at all. I don't quite know when the other Titans unlock, and I kind of don't want to know for spoiler reasons, but at some point in our campaign we are going to unlock other Titans, and I don't know how this one gets unlocked, so I'll have to read up on that. We've not got much else to say, really. We'll have more tomorrow, because tomorrow I may have played a game tomorrow, but whoever is on the stream tomorrow night, I don't know who it might be. I might get JP and or Adrian from the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast. I might get them on tomorrow night, because they've been here at Essen for the first time, and they've spent all day demoing games. I say all day demoing games. They got in a demo of Elder Scrolls this morning from Chip Theory Games, and were still playing it at 1 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
So, because they decided, forget the fact that this is a demo, we're just going to keep playing, and then eventually somebody kicked them off the table, I think. But they've played a few other games today as well, so I'll try and get them on tomorrow and see what they've played.
With the shopping day, we're full skill demos tomorrow.
And you'll be full demos, that's it. There'll be a lot of people who will have played a lot of demos tomorrow. But yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much, Joe, for joining me.
Thanks.
Thank you to everybody for joining me. Tomorrow's will be earlier, I think. It will be at the pre-planned time of 10:30 German time, 9:30 UK time, 8:30 GMT. That will be tomorrow for part 4.
That'd be 1:30 p.m. California
Whatever
time.
And I will have picked up some more games, because I really need to spend the next 3 days picking up more games, both for me and also for the charity raffle that I'm collecting for.